Good afternoon and welcome to HR Reporting and Analytics webcast today. We've got quite a lot to get through, so I will crack on. Firstly, I'll give a brief introduction to Thorogood before taking you through what HR Analytics is and some of the basic reporting around it, which we will have a demo on as well. Then we'll talk through some examples of insights you can get out of your HR data, and we'll be demoing one of those before we wrap up for today. Some quick introductions. My name is Emily Nichols. I've been working as a business intelligence and analytics consultant with Thorogood for almost 2 years now. Most recently, I've worked on a couple of HR reporting solutions for a major pharmaceutical company. With me today is Chinmayi.
Hello everyone, my name is Chinmayi Puranik. I've been working as a business intelligence and analytics consultant with Thorogood for over 3 years now.
So for those not familiar with Thorogood, I'll whiz through this quickly to give you a sense of who we are. Thorogood is a professional services firm specialising in business intelligence and analytics strategies, solutions and services. Our clients are some of the leading organisations in the insurance, banking, consumer goods, pharma and healthcare sectors, and we serve them globally with leveraged teams from our offices in the US, the UK, India and most recently Singapore. You can see the services we offer here. Consultants are trained to develop a unique mix of skills by blending business understanding with a strong technical aptitude for analytical tools and techniques. We work with a large number of big companies and we tend to work with them for a long time. There are a couple in particular here that we've worked with for almost 30 years, so people seem to like what we do. We partner with all the major players in technology and some of the more specialised ones as well. You can report HR with any of these technologies. We'll be demoing Tableau today and using some of the out-of-the-box analytics that comes with that. Okay, so let's get started. The goal of HR reporting and analytics. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how you can use your HR data to make strategic decisions. So what is HR data and how can it be used? HR data is everywhere. Companies have collected it for years. That data can be used to answer the big questions around moving a business forward. It can help us to identify why certain key talent continue to thrive while others burn out. We can predict exactly which candidates are likely to succeed and therefore tailor your recruitment strategy. And we can understand what would improve a workforce's performance. It can also help to make the everyday decisions around hiring, onboarding, promotions, etc., instead of just relying on the company way or professional instinct, which can lead to bad practices. So we know that we have the data required. The challenge is in collating, integrating, and analysing that data. So we're going to start off looking at some basic HR reporting around tracking FTE and headcount. I'm sure most of you are aware what FTE is, but just to make sure we're on the same page, 10 people working on a project 10% of the time amount to one full-time equivalent employee, or one FTE. So by tracking FTE, we can make event-based forecasts on the headcount and utilisation required. We can also analyse the demographics of our workforce and look at the primary reasons for attrition. More generally, we can look at people movement within the company and identify any relevant changes to employee details. So I'm going to hand over now to Chinmayi, who's going to give us a quick demo on one way of using this workforce analysis. As mentioned, we'll be demoing in Tableau, but you can use any reporting tool for this at all.
Thanks, Emily. The first dashboard that we see here is Global FTE Analysis. If you notice, this dashboard gives an overall view of full-time equivalent. On the top is a simple trend chart showing us data until end of 2016. The map here gives a global distribution of FTE for a consumer goods company. And the donut here adds more details to this information by giving us the split of FTE by different business units of the company. Tableau has several built-in options for analytics, and one of which is out-of-the-box forecasting, where it identifies a regular pattern in the measure that can be continued into the future. Let us enable that and see what happens. So we see that the forecasted FTE for the next 1 year. This could also be used in future to see how our actuals turned out to be against this forecast. For the purpose of this demo, let's say I am the HR director for Brazil, and from this dashboard, what I would be interested is doing a deep dive analysis for Brazil in the year 2016. So I select Brazil, and I have an option to go to my deep dive dashboard. This dashboard is showing me data for Brazil 2016 and a trend for various business units. Chart below is giving me further details as the trend for various staff levels within the organization. In the first one, I see that purchasing unit has maximum FTE, but also notice it declining post-March, and we weren't able to catch up until November. On selecting purchasing, I see that the chart below reflects the staff level split, particularly for purchasing unit. And what I get to know from this trend is a major contributor for this decline is staff level B. Now that I've reduced my data set, I would want to know in Brazil 2016, what activity or movement happened in staff level B of the purchasing unit. I would then go to the people movement dashboard, which gives me the head count of joiners, movers, and leavers, filtered out for the data set I was interested in, which is the purchasing staff level B in Brazil 2016. So from this waterfall chart, it is evident that most of the people in staff level B were promoted to high level. And this number is comparable to the people who have not moved in that level and who have stayed in staff level B. So now let's look at what the behavior was for 2015. Even in 2015, I see that the number of people promoted is comparable to the people who have stayed in that level, but also there is an inflow of lateral hires that has compensated for the people who have moved to higher level, which in 2016 is not the case. So as an HR director, the takeaway for me is to fill this gap with an inflow of lateral recruits and get back on track as soon as possible. So here we come to the end of the first demo, and we have showed you one way to analyze and drill through the HR data. I would now hand over the control to Emily, who would take us through the other aspects.
Thanks, Chinmay. So we've had a look at simple HR reporting, and now I'm going to talk you through some examples of how you can use your HR data to really drive insights. Firstly, we could take a look at contractors in your company and answer important questions on the source of supply. Are they agency workers or individuals? Where are they placed in the business? It's important to track which cost centre they're falling under. What roles are they filling? Are you using contractors generally, in which case you have a capacity shortfall, or are they filling a particular skill shortage? If it's the latter, you have a capability shortfall, so you may want to look into learning and training. Is there a gap in the courses offered that could help to plug this capability shortfall? Furthermore, you might want to understand what the popular courses are, which skills are employees looking for, and what's the impact of the learning. For example, is there a correlation between taking leadership courses with speed to promotion or performance rating? Additionally, if you have found that you have a capacity or capability shortfall, you may want to look into recruitment. Not having enough people or not having enough of the right people can have a direct impact on the revenue generated in the company. Therefore, recruitment needs to be effective and ensure that the number of positions filled is in line with the overall plan. So we can use our HR data to take a look at demographics and see what kind of candidates tend to succeed in the business, and we can also look at their educational history to see where the right candidates might be found. Another popular example is health and safety. If you can get a clear understanding of where accidents and injury are likely to occur, you can be better at preventing them. Your HR data can be used to create a framework to assess, measure, and monitor employee health and safety policies across all layers of your business. armed with this kind of fact-based guidance, you can really make moves to prevent lost time and lost productivity. Our last example here is around key talent. So with your HR data, you'll be able to identify the top performers and look at their demographics. Do you have a nice healthy mix of talent in your business? You can analyse the spread of key talent by various hierarchies to identify any gaps. And you can optimise that talent through development and training. As well as this, you can identify the primary reasons for key talent leaving and make strategic decisions about retention. Now, purely because we don't have enough time today to show examples of everything we've talked about here, we're just going to have a demo on key talent, particularly around retention. But if you think another area would be of more interest to you, or if you want further information on all of them, then please do reach out to myself or Chinmay, and we'll be able to talk you through that. So I'm going to pass over once again to Chinmay for our second demo today.
Thank you, Emily. What we are now looking at is a dashboard for talent pool analysis. I would like to continue with the same data set that corresponds to Brazil 2016, focusing on staff level B, except my focus now is more on the talent pool of the organization. The graph on the left is basically addressing a question that, are we meeting the demand for a talent count? What I see here is a demand versus supply plot across different business units. The marks here indicate what is my talent demand, and the green bars here show have we met what's the supply and have I met that demand. What I also see here are the gray bars that are giving me a pictorial representation of is it 80% or 60% of the demand. Hence, I can tell how far off are we from the demand. When you see here, we have met demand for some of the business units and we haven't for some. What I see in purchasing is, although it hasn't met the demand, but it has catered to at least 80% of the talent demand. Whereas that's not the case in legal, which is not even met the 60% of the talent demand. To give a numerical alternative to this graph, we have a table here on the side that captures how much is the shortfall. This is the shortfall in number, and you see the percentages as well. And from here I see that legal division is falling short by 75% of what it required in terms of the talent. I would also look for more measures to understand where is the talent in legal moving to. So I take a look at the same waterfall chart for people movement, except that this is filtered for legal division. I see that we do have a considerable number of promotions and lateral hires coming into this level, but we have a considerable number of leavers as well. So I'm interested in this group of people who have left and try to get more background to it, which takes us to this plot here where we get to know how satisfied is the key talent in the organization. So this is the satisfaction versus resigned plot, and to see people who have left, were they all unhappy? Which is true from this group of people that we see here. But I would also be interested to know and dig deeper into the group which is on the right, where people were indeed satisfied but have also resigned. So is it because they got a good or a bad review? Or I would want to get more information behind this, and so I would try to bring evaluation scores in the picture, which takes us to this plot. So this is a scatter plot for satisfaction versus evaluation for the key talent and legal department. If I look at those who are still in the company, they are highly satisfied as well as have good evaluation scores, which is kind of obvious. But for those who have resigned, we see this group of people who were evaluated well but weren't satisfied in the company, which could be because they weren't challenged enough, which is understandable. However, the group here has high satisfaction scores and good evaluation but have left the company. I wonder why. To help me answer this question, if I include more attributes like work experience, salary level, promotions, etc. to this cross plot, then I would have more background. Doing so, I would arrive at this plot, which by the looks of it is too much of information to take in. So when data gets complex, it gets tougher to answer the questions. So this is where the new clustering feature of Tableau can be utilized. This can be again found in the Analytics tab of Tableau. So let's try and do that. See, I pull the clusters on and I have an option of choosing what are the different metrics that I would like to cluster my data points on. So you see here there are different measures like the company work experience, the promotion happened whether in the last 3 years, etc. So you could add them and create clusters that you would want to see the pattern in. Although these are the clusters that Tableau has created, I may have specific requirements that need to be included. For example, normalizing the data. So what Tableau also provides is it allows us to include R scripts that can be used to gain more control and on the visualizations that the Tableau is providing. So if you see here, this is where you have an option to include your R script. Now when I look at these different patterns, I see the clusters formed, and for me what it would be of interest is cluster 6, which because this is leading me to answer the question that I was looking for. Why is it people with high satisfaction levels and good evaluation scores leaving the company, and in consideration of the aspects of projects assigned and salary level, etc. So to help make sense of this cluster, we have whisker plots down here which will describe each of these clusters, and I can have them on the dashboard like this. So the cluster 6, which was of my interest, when I look at how are the other measures affecting this cluster, I see that they have high satisfaction levels and they have performed very well in the company. They have good number of projects assigned, and they have mid-level salary. And I also noticed that they do belong. They have work experience of mid-level or a lower level. And so to provide more support to this analysis, I would like to look at the survey conducted on the resignation for employees with mid-level work experience. I do have the data for it. All I need to do is find out a view that would help me in analyzing it. So I create a new worksheet and I have data for resignations. So Tableau also suggests what kind of plot would be best suitable for the analysis that you would want to do based on the attributes you select. So I select the head count and the reason description for the resignations, and I see the highlighted charts here on the side, and I believe the pie chart gives me a better view of this split for resignations across various reasons. Although I would like to have some labels here, so I will pull the reason description to the labels, and I would want to see the split probably in terms of percentages. So what I do is I bring the head count to the labels as well, but I would change this to a quick table calculation which would show me a percentage of total. From this I can get a percentage split of the number of people resigned due to the reasons that have been shown here. And here I noticed that 35% of resignations are due to people going for higher studies. So, well, one of the ways in which we can try and retain this talent is by offering an aid to their education as well as securing their positions in the company. So, by this, they can come back and work with us again. And with this analysis, we would conclude our second demo, and I would like to pass on the control to Emily now.
Thanks, Chinmay. So let me now summarise briefly what we've talked through today. We looked at what HR data is and how it can be used to inform decisions around moving your business forward. We had a whistle-stop tour of the kind of scenarios where you would want to utilise HR data, and we've had a couple of demos that took us through from some fairly basic HR reporting right through to driving insights and analysis out of the data. We used the retention of key talent as our primary example for that. Hopefully you found these examples useful and they've given you some idea on how to report your HR data effectively to really make the most out of it. Please do email us with any questions on what we've shown here or anything that we haven't shown, and we will get back to you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you all.